Hello guys, I'm Timur Rajan. I'm studying at the moment my first academic year in the Tashkent State University of Law in the private law faculty. Today we want to talk about international law and human rights. At the moment we have a question: how international law control the peace in the world? When we talk about the human rights are the foundation of the justice, freedom, and borders. The intent of the cultures and system ensuring that every individual has right to live without discrimination.
International law. What is it? Well, perhaps it's best to start with what is not. It's not a single official book of laws, and it's not enforced by an international police. And the cases are not heard by a single court, not it's a little more complicated than this. Instead, it's a set of agreements and customs that most countries follow most of the time. These agreements cover the rights and duties of the states about things like war, human rights, trade, and diplomacy. They can be treaties, written agreements that countries sign like a contract, or they can be what law calls customs, principles, and ideas that many already follow. These agreements only apply to countries, not companies or individuals. These can get complicated because some corporations are bigger than countries. All this means international laws has to keep evolving to fit our changing world.
As mentioned in the Declaration of the Human Rights, in Article 7, all are equal before the law, are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. All are entitled to equal protection against of discrimination. So discrimination in the relation of the declaration and against any individuals incepted to such discrimination.
International law is made by states, largely enforced by states, and very often expresses the interests of states. It's no surprise that the most important norm of international law is the sovereignty of every state. Nevertheless, if you're a state that's accused of violating international law, it will seem like somebody else's rules applied to you. And that's an unending difficulty for international law. The thing that's interesting is the extent to which the vocabulary of international law has become persuasive. Not on states, states are very abstract entities, but on people. You have to remember that states are just people who are trying to decide what to do, how to pursue their own objectives, and how to do so in a way that meets the least resistance. And they can be persuaded. They can be persuaded by a rule that's a good idea, but they can also be persuaded by a rule that everyone else thinks is a good idea.
In 1948, the UN General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights under Article 55 of the Charter to promote universal respect and observance of human rights, fundamental freedoms for all without distinctions as to race, sex, language, or religion. Comprising certain substantive articles, the Universal Declaration set out the fundamental rights to be granted to all people, like dignity, liberty, equality, and brotherhood, the right to life and the prohibition of slavery, the individual rights, the civil, political society, and the freedom of religion and association, the hygiene, social, economic, and cultural rights. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights has since adoption exercised a powerful impact throughout the world, both internationally and nationally, have been equated as justification. Various measures taken by the United Nations and have inspired many international conventions and influenced national constitution, municipal legislation, and court decisions. Although not legally binding, the contents and declaration have been incorporated into subsequent international treaties, human rights instruments, national constitution, and laws as a code of conduct or yardage to measure the degree of compliance with the international standards of human rights. From the Universal Declaration comes a legally binding international promise of civil and political rights, economic and social cultural rights.
In conclusion, international law plays a vital role in maintaining global order, resolving conflicts, and protecting human rights. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget about the subscription for our channel and liking this video. Join for our communication about the international law and discrimination.